And today we're focusing on two major issues. One has to do with security and violence, and then the other also has to do with education. We're focusing on Bawku, to be precise, where the situation, or the volatile situation, has been taken advantage of by some indisciplined young men who think that they can actually, take charge of the situation and do what they like in that particular region of the country. And so you have members of parliament, and I mean senior members of parliament, who are having their houses torched, security officers' houses torched, and all that. I'll be getting into it and see the updates of it, how we can, bring the situation under control. And then in the issue of education, or on the issue of education, we are hearing that the education minister is asking for discipline to be restored in our senior high schools. What exactly is causing the breakdown of, discipline in these schools? We'll be looking into it. We have some educationists and then persons in charge of the educational institutes as well. We have some of them billed to be speaking to them later in the show. But for now, we're across of our Desi standing by. He has the news updates and he's taking us through. Desmond, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. It's time for the news updates here. Good afternoon, Ghana. We'll take a spin. We'll be back shortly. Widespread condemnation, the protracted Bawku conflict rages on. The latest twist: residents partially torched the home of Bawku Central MP, who also serves as the majority leader in Parliament. We have the latest updates on this developing story. And also coming up in the eastern region, police arrest 7 illegal miners in separate operations as the government intensifies its crackdown on illegal mining activities. As on the show, we take a closer look at the growing wave of indiscipline in our senior high schools. Are school heads losing control? What's fueling the trend, and what lasting solutions has this? We'll tell you about that on the show. So the details of these and many more coming up. Please stay with us. Hello again, many thanks for joining us. I am Desmond Okreku. We'll begin from the President, John Dramani Mahama, and he has urged the citizenry to desist from raising false alarm as it wrongly diverts the attention of the security services. He has further reiterated that his government will take all allegations of crime seriously and trigger security services investigation machinery. He was speaking at the graduation parade of the Ghana Military Academy.
Roles of individuals, organizations, and the government in national security is of critical importance. I urge our citizens in discharging this complementary duty of helping to safeguard our security not to behave like the shepherd boy in the famous fable who cried "Wolf, wolf," when there was no wolf. If we behave like that boy, either for partisan or parochial interest, we distract the attention of our security services from focusing on their critical job of keeping us safe. Let us support our security services and the Ghana Armed Forces with information that is useful and intelligence that is helpful, that will advance their work rather than retrogress it. Let me reiterate that we will take all allegations of crime seriously and trigger our security service investigative machinery to go after criminals, no matter who they are. But let me state emphatically also that we do not have the resources and time to engage in any game of smoke and mirrors. The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Bawku area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfor mediation process which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week when he returns from his brief visits abroad. Congratulations to our armed forces for the sacrifices you have made, even at the peril of your lives, to protect life and property in the Bawku conflict area.
Now, away from that, we go to the Eastern region, and the Eastern North Police Command has arrested 7 individuals for illegal mining in the Wesewese and Pankese, located at the Kwewu West and Brim North districts of the Eastern region. The operation was led by Regional Operations Commander ASP Samuel Amewonu. The police also retrieved a pistol gun loaded with 7 bullets. Regional Commander DCOP Isaac Kweju Asante warned farm owners who allowed illegal miners to operate on their land that they would be pursued to help combat illegal mining. Additionally, he appealed to the government to provide training for police personnel in excavator operations to facilitate the movement of equipment during arrests.
Upon intelligence, the call, Krobia, a ferry receive any pankesi, Meachiche, and Crawford, and so Omania bread and danger, Omu essay, assassin, etomope, good. Yakoen, and said to Michi, and Crawford, and soon I fromo, Padmo, Ofusubuati, I will be in fear, Edrianainum. Quasi Kedem, or in fear. Adunu N9 Eugene Amwako Odi Mfie Aduosia N9 George Boabin also di Mfie Aduosia N9 Bernard Creech ono di Mfie Aduasa Frederick Agbolosu ono di Mfie Aduasa N9 Michael Amatiko also di Mfie Aduasa machine omo di adwuma no maybe I hear say be betutu omo ehon ne makakra. We are not experts. I was signing a minute near Sebi. Ye betimi afa ohono. Let us say Jaffa. The same we need Bawku and Okuta Peso.
Now from there we talk about the conflict happening in Bawku, and the Ashanti Regional President of the Council of Zongo Chiefs, Naba Alhaji Musa Akambonga, has called for renewed government commitment in tackling the lingering chieftaincy disputes in Bawku to bring peace and development to the area. There's more in the following report by our Ashanti Regional Correspondent.
The Bawku conflict has led to significant instability in the Upper East region. Speaking at the annual traditional Salah Derba termed as Gakagia, which forms part of activities climaxing the 2025 Eid al-Fitr celebration at the Kumasi Central Mosque premises, the Sumankwahene of the Asantehene, Otumfuo Seititu II, Bafuo Okojia Woswo Asabre, who was the guest of honor, highlighted the theme of the event, which focused on fostering a shared cultural identity among various ethnic groups in the country as descents across West Africa. He emphasized the importance of unity among all ethnic communities, stressing that unity cannot be achieved without first establishing peace and laying a solid foundation rooted in cultural preservation.
Thank you. As I saw them, I saw them when I was at the mosque. And TV Sabo, the way be ammonia, the better. Ama, the new papa, I was watching a bemoso. One in a more. Na asasi one farmer. The little came small. The more you be an angel. We need to be a better, sir. One in a more. Na afibia de bayelo akodenu since I sobetia ade ba kwa kan se ayefo ni na foto mandile sa akoda be kodi mone ne ase yale ga hene akoda hano no a obu yale ga hene no ase.
The Ashanti Regional President of the Council of Zongo Chiefs, Naba Alhaji Musa Akambonga, has urged President John Dramani Mahama to firm up efforts towards ending disputes in Bawku.
This effort in ensuring that fugitives in Bawku are apprehended and brought to justice. This is crucial for upholding the rule of law and maintaining the safety and security of the residents. Let us embrace this theme wholeheartedly and work towards a future where tribal cohesion and unity are cherished values.
We now take a look at confirmation of some MMDCs, and we'll go to the Volta region. And presiding members in the North Tone districts of the Volta region have expressed high expectation for the newly confirmed district chief executive Victoria Amefaji-Do. They hope she will do her best to uplift the district's fortunes, particularly by providing resettlement and compensation for the victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage to alleviate their suffering.
Victoria Amefaji-Do, the president's nominee, was endorsed by the assembly members of the North Tone district. She polled 41 votes out of 42, representing 97.62%, and was subsequently declared the district chief executive for North Tone district by the Electoral Commission officials. Some assembly members, after the endorsement, expressed high expectations from the newly confirmed chief executive, especially in facilitating the resettlement and compensation for flood-affected victims.
During the 2023 spirit, a lot of our things have been are down over here. Economic activities, our buildings are down. People are still living in the towns. So my expectation is she will come and push those agendas very hard, so that the people can be compensated. A lot of people are stranded as we speak. They can't get places to sleep. Food to eat is an issue. So we want her to follow that closely, so that it's in the budget that they're releasing 20 million Ghana cedis to compensate the people and also provide accommodation for them. I think that is a part of her work. We plead to her that as he's being a DCE now, he should continue do a follow-up about the flood issue. So those are supposed to be compensated to be compensated.
In her remarks after being sworn in by the magistrate for North Tone district, the newly confirmed district chief executive Victoria Amefaji-Do urged the citizens of North Tone to join hands with her to address the challenges facing the district. She assured the people of Mepe that she will work to secure compensation for the flood-affected victims.
I assured the residents of my beloved North Tone district that this will be my priority project. I will soon reach out to all of you for further discussion on the implementation of these initiatives. Let us rise to build the North Tone we want together and leave a lasting legacy for the future generation.
Meanwhile, the Kpando Municipal Whole West District, Whole Municipal Assembly and Central Tone District have all confirmed the president's nominees for municipal and district chief executives, bringing the total to 10 out of 18 assemblies confirmed in the Volta region.
And that was Victoria Amefaji-Do, who has been appointed DC for the North Tone district in the Volta region. Away from that, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has condemned previous managers of the Electricity Company of Ghana, accusing them of being complicit in the missing containers belonging to the power distributor. The GUTA president called for swift legal action to bring those responsible to justice.
We are not even going to oblige until they've done the needful. They have to do it, because at this one it can be tracked wherever it went to, the leadership then, or everybody who is involved have to be brought to book and made to account and all that. Those people involved in these more practices, the cartel and all that, are mega rich. They have properties and all that. We have to clamp down on all that, recoup some of the losses from there before they can even have the right to come to us. For us, we are now very convinced that whatever rate that we are paying is enough, and that whatever rate that we are paying was not being used for the right uses. And what pains us more is that most of the companies that have the capacity to produce these things, they did not even procure from them. There are so many electrical companies in Ghana and all that. And you saw that this procurement were done through some few people who have the connections and all that, who necessarily do not belong to the electricity business and all that. It's very unfortunate. If you do that, then we are not even sharing the national cake fairly and evenly. And local manufacturers are left out, local traders are left out, big time importers who supply ECG when they find the need. We are all there, and you see, and even the supplier, just one person supplying almost all these goods. About 80% of this is coming from just one company, a Chinese company. If you look at the TV, you see kum. It's coming from just one company, where Nesans Cable is there, Tropical Cable is there. All these big electrical importing companies are there. And this is not fair. We have to look through that. It's not fair. It's an insult, as a matter of fact, to the people of Ghana, for just a few people make huge sums of money through this system, and then come back to us and say that they are. Well, it has made our electricity system very inefficient.
You're still watching the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana with me, Desmond. So now the Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nati George, has called on the National Media Commission to intensify efforts in regulating television content, warning that the National Communications Authority will be empowered to take action against defaulting stations.
Money doubling is not just happening online. And that's a matter that I have engaged the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, Mr. George Sapong, on. Let me be clear. Content is not the forte of the NCA or the ministry. Content is under the regulatory supervision of the National Media Commission. I have engaged, like I said, I'm writing officially this week to the National Media Commission to let them know that if we do not see improved action, especially because there is now a joint collaborative framework with the NCA, we've provided them a broadcast monitoring center. If the NMC does not up its game in moderating content on our TV stations, we will be compelled to use the regulatory powers of the NCA in making sure that defaulting stations do not influence our children in a way that is unbecoming. I will not worry or lose sleep over any tag that the media or any international body will put on me, so long as I do right by the children of Ghana. And let's be minded, it's happened already. You remember the instance of the 13-year-old in Kaswa who killed a young friend of his because he watched a ritualist on TV asking for a human head. We need to protect our children. And so as broadcasters, you have a responsibility. You have a freedom of expression, but you have a responsibility to the children of our country. You must manage your freedom with the responsibility of content that you put out. And so, notice is hereby served. By the end of this quarter, we will clamp down heavily on stations involved who are operating using our frequency. We're not going to be getting into the issue of your content. We're simply going to be taking our frequency authorization to protect the Ghanaian children. We'll be withdrawing our frequency authorization.
And that was Samuel Nati George, the Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations. Now, away from that, the World Bank Division Director for Ghana, Sierra Leone and Liberia, Robert Taliesio, has reiterated the bank's commitment to invest in human capital development, particularly in the fields of energy, health, agriculture and ICT to enhance skills training in the region. He spoke at the closing ceremony of the Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence Anniversary Celebration.
Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence program came to a close with researchers, innovators and entrepreneurs across the continent discussing sustainability strategies and reflecting on the lessons learned. In his remarks, World Bank's Division Director for Ghana, Sierra Leone and Liberia, Robert Taliesio, outlined the World Bank's vision towards education and training for the marginalized group.
The ACE program has laid a strong foundation for a knowledge-driven economy powered by African talent, research, and solutions. We must build on this foundation and continue empowering Africa's brightest minds to learn, lead, innovate, and drive the continent's transformation from within. Looking ahead, the World Bank remains deeply committed to equipping Africa's youth with the skills they need to thrive in the workforce of today and tomorrow. As engines of innovation, research, and higher level training, the Africa Centers of Excellence are central to this mission. They not only produce skilled graduates, but they also strengthen ecosystems and drive job creation, entrepreneurship, and inclusive economic growth.
Delivering the closing address, Deputy Minister of Education Clement Park called for a renewed commitment towards an institutional sustainability of the ACE program.
In the spirit of collaboration and collective progress, I urge all of us to depart from this celebration of the last 2 days with a renewed commitment to engage with each other and to work towards the program's financial and institutional sustainability. Let us harness the momentum generated during this conference to drive meaningful change and to propel Africa's development. Together, we can create a better future for Africa's higher education sector and, by extension, the continent's economic and social development.
The 10th anniversary of the ACE program was organized by the Association of African Universities and the Inter-University Council for East Africa with the support of the World Bank and the French Development.
Now, Assembly members of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly in the Ashanti region on Thursday overwhelmingly endorsed Richard Ofori-Agyemang-Boadi, President John Dramani Mahama's nominee for the Metropolitan Chief Executive Officer position. He secured 55 out of 56 votes, representing 98.2% of the votes cast.
The election of Richard Ofori-Agyemang-Boadi, popularly known as King Zuba, followed his nomination by President John Dramani Mahama. During his time in Obuasi as MCE for the area, King Zuba was credited with championing infrastructural development, streamlining local governance, and fostering community engagement. This landslide victory, representing a 98.2% approval rate, underscores King Zuba's wide-reaching influence, strategic vision, and deep-rooted ties within the Ashanti region. The newly confirmed mayor of Kumasi promised transformative leadership aimed at revitalizing Kumasi's central business district, addressing urban congestion, and restoring the Garden City's historical status.
Discipline. In fact, there's been a lot of indiscipline in our metropolis. And in all humility, I am going to ensure strict compliance with the Assembly's bylaws and regulations that manages our city. So, if you are selling on the pavement, adjust yourself. If you are in the middle of any dual carriage road, especially within the central business district, please take steps, get out of the place, because from Wednesday we'll be coming out, we'll get on the streets. we're going to make sure that we clear Kumasi of all the filth that we see around, and then we'll begin to take steps that for this year I would have to work within the budget that was prepared in October of last year.
Speaking to journalists after swearing into office the newly confirmed mayor of Kumasi, the Ashanti Regional Minister Dr. Frank Amoakohene expressed gratitude to the assembly members and members of parliament in the Kumasi metropolis for supporting the nomination of the president.
Thank the honorable assembly members for such an emphatic confirmation, and they also consider the agencies so far as the KMA issues and then the Dun PZ fire issues are concerned. I want to thank my MPs on the other side, I mean within the metro constituencies, for their support and their call on their various assembly members to come on board and support with their confirmation.
On the TIDJ segment for today, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology has disbursed the first part of a $7 million grant to some plastic recycling companies aimed at managing plastic waste in the country. Sector Minister Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, during the disbursement, warned against the misuse of the grant.
The disbursement of first tranche of $7 million grant by the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology follows the establishment of a circular economy framework aimed at managing plastic waste in the country. It also seeks to enhance the capacity of recycling plants to collect, recycle, and reuse plastic waste, contributing to efforts to tackle the country's plastic pollution. Joseph Yeboah is the representative for the United Nations Industrial Development Organization.
Pilot project component of the project is anchored on three main objectives, namely preventing plastic leakage into the environment and preventing marine litter. 2, decoupling plastics from fossil fuel feedstocks. And 3, creating an effective after-use economy for plastics.
By the disbursement of the first tranche of grant, at least over 700 direct and more than 9,000 indirect jobs, respectively, are expected to be created. Sector Minister Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed warned against the misuse of the grants.
I haven't asked any of you to give me $1. And I haven't asked anybody to come to any of you to say, give honorable $1. So you should all be conscious that I will monitor with Madam and the directors to see how the monies are utilized. I don't need $1 a city from any of you. You need to use the monies for the purpose for which it was intended. And I'll take particular interest for the monitoring. Now, I'll monitor for money. I'll monitor because they went through a lot of exercises, selected you, and I was happy, except one of you that I had problems with. Even before I signed the check, I insisted that for the check to be given, we need guarantee of certain things I want that company to do. But trust me, they won't be messy. If you are not using the money for which it was intended, don't go and ask any big man to call me, because I would insist that they take it.
One of the beneficiary recycling firms is Integrated Recycling and Compost Plants Limited.
You already know that we collect about 400 tons of municipal solid waste in a day, and we have the LD fraction being more than 30% of what we collect cumulatively, and about 70% at the end of in the residual fraction of our municipal solid waste. And so we are going to use it to expand. We are going to use to make sure that we recover more, so that the percentage that goes to the landfill will be near zero plastics.
Plastic waste pollution in Ghana is a major environmental challenge, with about 840,000 tons generated annually. Greater Accra generates about 300 tons of plastic daily, while Tema also contributes significantly. Only about 10% is recycled, while most ends up in landfill and waterways.
And that's all for the news updates this afternoon. I am Desmond Okreku. Many thanks for joining me. Up next, Annie Fampo will take charge of the rest of the show as we're taking a look at discipline in our senior high schools and how we can tackle all of that and also the issue in Bawku. So Annie, over to you.
Thank you, that's it for the news updates there. Now we'll be going into the details of what has been given to us, especially delving into the area of education and security, as well as we're having the talk about. I'm not sure, you know, Desmond, when you're in secondary school, what were some of the maybe the child delinquency challenges you had in school? Because I remember one time Dr. Randiabe mentioned that, you know, when we're in school, we used to be as stubborn as that, except that the internet, there was no internet, you know, to have some of these things go viral. But, you know, I seem to have a different
view to that.
To that, because even though, I mean, we used to record some of these stubborn situations coming up, it was not as serious as, you know, handling of guns in school. And using machetes to slash, you know, colleagues.
True.
Serious drug situations or drug abuse that we're seeing. I mean, I'm not sure.
For me, the thing is that even with that time, when we were in school, we knew people were, you know, actually stubborn in that sense and were doing, you know, some of these very bad stuff in school. And that was even when we were still being caned in school. That was even when our parents would come to school and come and report to you, and it would stand up for the teacher to beat you. That was where you were given to a teacher to be looked after. Even at that time, the situation was there. And then now all of that has been taken off. And so definitely, we're definitely going to a very, very wrong turn that now it has escalated. And social media now has even worsened it because you do not even understand the mentality of some of these kids now. Why would you even want to do that and then post them on social media? For what kind of validation are you looking at? And all of that. It makes no sense,
for example,
really.
The issue of sexual activities.
You
know, you have children now kissing in school. And they, I mean, those days, if you did that in school and you were caught, it was so embarrassing. You couldn't bear the shame.
You are debordinized. You're going home. Your parents would have to come and beg, and even that one, it's going to take something else for you to be accepted back into the school. But for now, they do that in their dormitories, phones all over the place, dancing, you know, almost half naked, all of that in secondary school. And that is as a result of what we have done in the past few years, that, we're taking, you know, caning now, teachers don't have to be strict. And I've had some teachers who have said that because of some of these things, they will fold their arms and watch it go on, because some of them have alleged that even if the situation goes, you know, they even hit a child or cane, you know, the right way, they'll be taken to the district, something will happen, they'll be, you know, so they also sit aloof and watch things go bad, and this is where we are.
You know, as a country, we're taking all kinds of loans, grants, we've signed on to human rights charters, and it's sort of tying us to a certain regulation. So we want to understand if we have to necessarily bind ourselves as a sovereign country to all these charters that we're signing on to, because obviously things are getting out of hands. And what we see in other countries we call developed so-called countries, we are now beginning to see you know, shadows of them in our own country, and it's only a matter of time that you see it escalate into proportions that we may not be able to you know, curb. You know, well, these are some of the issues that we're getting into, but I'm sure we'll find answers.
And the Iron Cup with cocoa blends, palm blend, and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose A-Cup, K-Cup, and Iron Cup organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by Cocoa Board, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
So much love in the air. What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us for this unforgettable night.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead.
The megastar is here.
Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
Just taking a trip down memory lane.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DSTV.
You're welcome back. Now let's deal with security first, where Member of Parliament for Bawku Central, Mahama Yariga, has condemned recent violent clashes between the police and the youth in Bawku, which have reportedly led to fatalities and also injuries, as well as an attack on his private residence. So in a statement issued while on official duty outside the country, the MP and leader of the majority expressed his sympathies to those affected by the violence and also appealed for calm. Let's go through the excerpts of the statement. The videos on your screen now, just what we here at Metro TV received from the area of Bawku. So the statement from Mama Yariga says that while attending an official assignment out of the country, I've learned about fatal violent encounters between the police and the youth in Bawku and subsequent vandalization of, and attempt to burn my private residence in Bawku in anger. I understand the anger, frustration of the youth about the pace of the resolution of the situation in Bawku and Kusau as the misconduct of some misguided law enforcement officers. The National Democratic Congress NDC government remains committed to its promise to ensuring justice and lasting peace. My condolences to the bereaved and sympathies to the injured. So in this regard, I will urge all to remain committed to the peace process being led by His Majesty, the Asante Hino Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the overlord of Kusau, Zugrang Naba Azigri, Abugrago Azoka II, and overlord of Mamprugu, Nayirina Buhagu, Mahami Sheriga, have committed themselves to the process and are fully participating. So kindly disregard the lies being told about me by political detractors and people seeking shamelessly to take advantage of the current unfortunate situation in Bawku and Kusau to settle personal electoral political scores. So the smear campaign on social media will not distract me. In the end, we will be vindicated. Now, my personal position on this matter has been known to all over the years and has never changed. It won't change. I agree with the youth of Kusok that another person cannot reside in Bawku claiming to be a chief, but in reverence to the great Ashanti II, I leave the matter to Otumfuo Osei Tutu II to resolve expeditiously. The law enforcement officers must be cautious. The matter was referred to the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II to handle upon coming into office on January 7, 2025. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama requested the Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu to continue the process. I support President John Dramani Mahama's decision for very good reasons. I therefore once again appeal to everyone to exercise restraint and allow the peace process led by Otumfuo to come to its logical conclusion. I also appeal to everyone to remain maintain cordial relations with the law enforcement agencies to protect lives and in the interim. Let's now go onto the phone lines and engage Adib Sani on this development. Adib, thank you so much for your time. You're welcome. And he's the Executive Director for Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building and also International Policy Analyst as well. Adib, if you can hear me, you're welcome. Good afternoon. Hello, Adib.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Adib, you have been my personal partner in this Bawku situation. It's been years we've been talking about this, and obviously it's like a broken record. However, Mama Yarga raised certain, issues in his statements, which I just read. In one paragraph, he mentions persons or political interested persons taking advantage of the volatile situation to score political points. Do you think, first of all, that was a responsible statement to make to start with? And do you think there is some value or something to consider in that particular statement he made?
Well, perhaps the Honorable knows more than we do. He knows more than I do. Perhaps he has chanced a situation like that, which you and I haven't. So it will be difficult for me to tell whether the statement is meritorious or not. Mm-hmm. But what I do know is that there's been some elements of politics in this whole affair that is unfortunately exacerbating it. Even though we cannot solve this without political commitment, on the other hand.
We're talking about elements of partisan politics, right?
Absolutely. Okay. Yes. But we need politics to be able to resolve it.
Yeah.
So for anyone to say, let's detach politics completely from it, we need to put a bit of politics, positive politics, into this whole affair. That is why I'm particularly excited that the president has gone to the area as his first official assignment after his inauguration outside of Accra. Obviously an indication of his unflinching commitment to resolving this issue once and for all. Okay?
Yeah.
But you see, Annie, it's a plethora of many issues. It's multidimensional. It's not just about chieftaincy. It is about criminality. It is about lack of law enforcement, the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. It is about the human insecurities, financial exclusion, because believe it or not, there's no bank in Bawku. Education, a lot of the schools, they close because of insecurity. The nurses are crying. The nurses at the training college. They say, no, we want to be moved to other training colleges in the region. Coming by egg, an egg is like looking for gold. It has become an expensive commodity because there's a growing sense of food insecurity. You see? So we need more commitment, and the president has shown us the way. But he cannot do it alone. All of us, including the media, have a very, very important role to play in resolving this issue once and for all, because it affects everybody. If you are sitting at Adenta and think, this is far from me, Bawku and Adenta, the distance is too much, so it has nothing to do with me, you are mistaken. Maybe your neighbors belong to the two sides. One day there's confusion, they shoot at each other, and a stray bullet gets to you because there's been clashes in Accra related to this Bawku issue. So for me, it is very sad this is happening. The level of poverty keeps going up. But I am confident that this issue can be resolved with the right level of commitment, which the president has demonstrated. But there's a lot more to do going forward.
Adib, we're always discussing the issue of the right level of commitment. I'm not sure if we're using the right level of, the right avenues to achieve the commitment that we want to achieve. So we're using, no disrespect to the Menchia Palace, but we're using the Otumfuo to resolve this situation. We're using the president of the country sort of to use his means to resolve the situation. Security analysts are doing commentaries on it, like I've been dealing with you, for some time now. Have we tried using professional conflict resolution experts?
Let's try to. Yeah. Okay. So the.
Hello, Adib. Okay. So we're having a discussion with Adib San, who is a security and foreign policy analyst as well. He's also the executive director for JTK Center for Human Security and Peace Building, discussing the issue of the Bawku. He's also agreed. We read the Mama Yarga's statement, who indicated that some politicians are taking advantage to score security points. So Adib sort of agrees because he thinks that Mama Yarga knows more because he hails from the area. He knows what's on the ground. Definitely he has more information. However, as a security analyst, he also detects that, there are some political undertones, and we're talking partisan politics undertones in this particular situation. So, he's also saying that there should be more commitment. Where more commitment, I'm not sure what exactly we mean that there should be more commitment to, because I think as a country we've done more than we should. We have sent military experts, we've sent police, we've sent the presidents after presidents have gone there. We've done what you call curfew. We've imposed curfew one after the other, thousands of curfew on the people of Bawku. So it's just something that I'm not sure we've not done enough, right? So the question that I was asking was, if we've used all these avenues and it's not working, why are we so stuck to using chiefs, using presidents, using curfews to think that we can actually solve the problem? So this is what Adib said some time ago in 2024. Let me see if I can capture that. And Adib actually said that security analyst, executive director of JTK, blah, 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 said that Adib says the ongoing disturbance, but cannot act because they are scared they might lose the election. So he was talking about how political parties and political actors are not taking charge and to solve the problem or to end the situation. So according to him, politicians want to solve the ongoing clash at Bawku, and they also should be ready to bite the bullet and also be willing to lose votes by standing by the truth. Let's, as we try to get Adib back, let's go on to the phone lines and engage Mama Ayarga. He's also scheduled to speak with us. Sorry, Hassan Ayarga, right, a brother to Mama Ayarga, as we were talking about. Hassan, you're welcome to the show, and he's also the flag bearer for APC. In this case, he's talking as a native from the area. Hassan Ayarga, you're welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your cherries.
All right, thank you for your time. All right,
thank you.
So upon hearing the development in Bawku, what were your first sentiments? Share with us.
Bawku crisis has been a very serious matter for both my brother and myself. We both hail from Bawku, and our mothers are Mampusis, and then our father is a Kusasi. So for us, it's a big blow, whatever happens in Bawku. We find it very difficult to understand the ongoing situation, even though we are sympathizers of both sides, the Mampusi and the Kusasis. But you see, like Habib said, there's been some political play in this game. The previous government should have handled this matter cautiously when it's the issue of a rivalry chief was installed and was brought to Bawku. But because politicians always want to win votes and not actually look at the root cause and resolve the matter, they allow things to escalate to the extent that every day as we speak for the past 3 years to 4 years, people die in Bawku as a result of this war. Are we seeing that the military that is being put in Bawku cannot resolve the peace process in Bawku? Ghana military is known for resolving peace challenges in various African countries. How come the issue of Bawku is still at hand? And instead of the military and the police resolving the matters, they now escalate matters to the extent that the recent one that happened was unnecessary. If I was one of the people who said that the separation of the two markets between the Kusasis and the Mampusis, as at that time, was okay, and now still okay. When there's no peace, you cannot put two rival friends or families to trade in the same market. There will be war, because the day another war escalates, then there will be massacre, because people will kill themselves in the market and destroy. So if the youth were preventing the other side of the divide from allowing their women to come into the market to trade, it is not the responsibility of the policemen or the military to force people to go to a particular market and trade, or vice versa. That is not the duty of the police and the military. The duty of the police and the military is to allow peace and coexistence between the two parties, no matter how it should be, but not to force them and escalate what happened in Bawku. The gentleman they killed, this gentleman is like a son to Bawku Naba, who at that time, I'm being told, was only helping the youth to retreat and allow the police to manage the situation. Nobody shot at the police. Nobody was holding even a knife. Why will the police that are intelligent officers turn around and fire into the crowd and kill the same guy who is Bawku Naba's son and who was there also to maintain peace and driving the young men and women to go back and stop the violence? Why will the police shoot at them and kill them? Why? Isn't it the law that the duty of the police is to protect lives and properties? So you see, when there's peace in Bawku, sometimes I have the feeling the military and the police will escalate things, even though they are there to maintain peace. But sometimes I have the feeling that they themselves are the cause of what's happening. They are killing both sides more than both sides are killing themselves.
Look, do I get the sense? Do I get a sense that you're reading that the police, security men who've been placed on the ground have been compromised in the conflicts themselves?
Exactly. If not, why are you telling me that as an intelligent officers for 4 years, you need 4 years to resolve an issue like Bawku conflict? And talking about political
why are you questioning 4 years? We know how long the Bawku conflict has lasted, decades.
No, I'm talking about the current one that has been ongoing for 4 years non-stop. This has been happening for the past 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
And are you telling me that from previous government until the current government, nobody can resolve the matter? Look, let me be very honest with you. As a politician, I come from that community.
Yes.
In election 2024, let me be very clear, the Kusasis, who are my people, refused to vote for me, and that they were going to vote for John Mahama and Mahama Ayarga in order to have peace in Bawku, and that the MPP had brought chaos into Bawku, and they wanted to they gave Bawumia zeros in almost all the constituencies.
Right.
Even myself, they gave me less than 50, 100 votes in most of the constituencies. Even in some constituencies, they gave me 0. Because they had trust and belief and hope in John Mahama and Mahama Ayarga. They believe that when the NDC win power, there will be peace for them. Today, the NDC is in power, and they are feeling that they feel that the war is escalating more than before. What do you think they will feel?
So then what's your reconciliation that most of the residents voted for the current administration? In assumption of office, the supporters of this administration are themselves burning Bawku down. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course. Those who supported NDC are the same people who are burning down, who are very upset and angry and fighting the police. After the police has shot into them and killed their leader, they were burning the police houses for taking the law into their hands. It's not a revenge.
I'm just trying to get the logic that I support someone, I voted the person into office, after I succeeded in voting the person into office, I decided to take the law into my own hands and misbehave.
They did not take the law into their hands and they are misbehaving. Point of correction. The Kusasis are sweet, loving people. They do not even, let me be very honest with you. Let's be sincere here. The reason why we are not having peace is telling each other the truth. The reason why we are not having peace in Ghana is because politicians have refused to tell the truth. Let me tell you, as a native of Bawku and a brother from both sides, Kusasis have never invaded Mampusis in their community. Never. Since the inception of Bawku, no Kusasi man has gone into the Mampusi community and fired at the Mampusi community. It has always been the opposite, where Mampusis will come out and fire at the Kusasis and the Kusasis will take cover. This has always been the situation. Why is it that the police and the military will allow the Mampusis to leave their community that is in the inner city, in town, and engage in war in the outskirts of Bawku with the Kusasis and Mampusis? How is that possible? Who gives them that way? Because there are roadblocks, there are military camps, there are military stations in every part of Bawku's town, protecting the Mampusis. But how come they are able to move from their community and come into the Kusasis community and cause trouble and go back? You see, we want peace.
That's to say that the Mampusis are always on the attack.
That's it.
That's your opinion.
It's not my opinion. It's been like that. Kusasis don't attack currently. The Kusasis
yes, but in this situation, the current development, we're told that it's the Mampusis that are not being allowed to enter a market that's patronized by both sides.
Because they have all divided their markets. Let me be very sincere with you. The Kusasis have now started attacking trucks that the Mampusi used to come out. That is the latest development. So now the Kusasis too are also attacking the Mampusi. Any Mampusi truck that comes out, they attack them, which I don't believe is the way to go.
So the Kusasis are on a path. Of what happened, you're saying that the Kusasis are on a path of retaliation.
Because of don't say it that way. All I'm saying is that you know what happened in Wali Wali when the Mampusis mount roadblocks and were banning Kusasi trucks. Kusasi too also mounted roadblocks and were also shooting and killing any Mampusi man. So that's what brought in about the issue of escort. That now any Mampusi man who must leave Bawku must be escorted by the police. But the point here I'm saying is that, look, NDC as a government should be able to resolve this matter. I'm told Otunfo is handling this issue. How long is it going to take Otunfo to handle it? A year plus? I don't think we need over 1 year to handle an issue of a rival chief. We all know, you and I know that Bawku's stool is a paramountcy. And as a matter of fact, that of Nalerugu too is a paramountcy. That is why we have overlord of the Naliri, the Nalerugu, who is the Nairi. The overlord of Bawku is the Kusasis. Are the Mampusis or the Nairi telling me that now he's going to have two overlords? One overlord in Bawku and then one overlord in Nalerugu. So who is then the overlord of the Mampusis? Is it the one sitting in Bawku, who's my uncle, my grandfather, or is it the one who is sitting in Nalerugu, who's also my great-grandfather? So for us, I don't think that the government wants to solve this matter. If government wants to solve this matter, look, no man will fire any bullet in Bawku. Going back to the markets, they are trading on grounds that I have my territory and you have your territory. The territories that Mampusis do not want Kusasi to come into them, even though they want to trade with them. But the Kusasi are saying that if you say you have a chief and Bawku is for you, okay, be in your Bawku Central and trade and allow us to also trade in our country. It's simple. If there's peace, we'll engage each other and go into it. Look, when I got to Bawku, I entered both sides because I wanted to bring peace. I went to the Mampusi community and greeted all the Mampusi elders and my uncles. I went to the Kusasi community, I greeted all of them and came back because I am a native of both communities and I want peace. But I am telling you that Politicians are playing games with Bawku matter. And until we tell each other the truth, look at each other and say, look, this is the result of the history of Bawku.
So from your narrative, I get the sense that persons who hail from this area, especially you and your brother, coming from both sides, you know, of the conflicts, you are even able to gel with either of the parties. How come we still have persons who come from either of them to cause trouble? Because, and once you're saying that this has political undertones and that politicians are not speaking the truth, I'm suspecting politicians that are hiring and paying and charging, some rebels to always in the darkness of the night cause trouble. And you know some of them, don't you?
Look, between you and I, Bawku is a border center. And I tell you, the kind of weapons that are in Bawku currently and the misuse of bullets and ammunition, I am telling you that the people who are living in Bawku cannot afford to buy those weapons. Somehow, somebody somewhere or some people somewhere are fueling and buying all these weapons and bullets. In Bawku, there is no business currently happening. How are they able to transport weapons? Weapons of mass destruction, the kind of weapons you see in Bawku, you don't even see them anywhere in Ghana. How are they able to get all these weapons and every day they are firing non-stop, wasting bullets? I don't know the cost of bullets, but I think the cost of bullets should be very expensive. So who are those sponsoring all these boys to be killing, innocent boys killing themselves? These are innocent boys who are supposed to be doing business. Bawku used to be a business center. The Mampusis and the Kusasis living in Bawku are one people. Maybe the Mampusis in Nalorgo is not the same. I don't believe that Mampusis in Nalorgo are the same with the Mampusis in Bawku. Because the Mampusis in Bawku, half of them, their parents and mothers are Kusasis. Half of them, like myself. My mother is Mampusi. My father is Kusasi. There are many Mampusis in that community that half of them, their mothers and grandmothers are Kusasi. They speak even Kusal more than they speak Mampu. So why are we engaged in this matter? If it's the T20 matter, why is government not coming in to resolve it and allow innocent lives, people to live? Why are they allowing us to take our lives? Is that the government we want to have? Is that the country we want to have? That Bawku matter 3 years down the lane, we cannot find peace. We are killing each other. Now they even go outside the Bawku and kill each other. Do you know where we are taking it to? It's escalating into various communities. They've taken it to Bolga. They've taken it to Binduri. They've taken it to Garu. They've taken it to Nalergo. They've taken it, Wale. Now even some part of Ashama and Accra, they can't sit together and enjoy themselves. Why can't we resolve this matter? What is the purpose of government? The purpose of government is not only run administrative governance, but also maintain peace and protect lives. So are we saying that we have not failed the people as politicians? Are we saying we have
Hassan,
not?
are we saying that these, I'm not sure, do you have any idea or suspect some of these politicians that we are saying are behind the fueling of this conflict?
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking you if you know some of these politicians you know are behind the fueling of this conflict.
How will I know? The previous government was in power. How will I know those who was sponsoring them?
Okay.
People were saying that I, Hassan Erga, was the one who was buying weapons for the Kusasis. So one day I asked the Kuman priests, okay, all things being equal, let's assume that Hassan Erga is the one buying ammunition and weapons for the Kusasis. Who is the one buying for the Mampusis? That was the end of that debate. That was the end of that debate. I, as a young man, I want to see my community grow. As presidential candidate, I want to see my people live in good conditions and have wealth, make wealth out of it. Today, my community has become a ghost town as a presidential candidate. I can't even go into my home, my own house, unless I work with security. Why?
Hassan Ayaga, as a resident or as a native of Bawku, do you think there's any hope?
Hope?
Yes.
Hope comes with justice. When there's justice, there's hope. You understand me? When there's truth, there'll be hope. When we speak the truth, there'll be hope. But if we refuse to speak the truth, I don't think there's hope. I don't think. Because right now, you don't know who is the one behind your house and holding a weapon for you to come out to shoot at you. And I've been telling government upon government, the previous government, the current government, look, let's be very careful with Bawku crisis. Let's not overlook. You remember when we went for the peace pact, I was more concerned about Bawku issue than any other issue. The reason is that, look, if we sit down and think Bawku crisis is for Bawku people, the day it will escalate and get to every part of Ghana, then we'll now realize that there are Kusasis and Mampusis in every community in Ghana.
Oh, it has escalated down south because there are people who still follow up their victims down south to attack them.
You see? So do you think that it's good for our country? Do you think? Because if you kill my man, if you kill my father, I will retaliate. If you kill my mother, I will also look for you. So are we finding this? Why should it be an issue of a rivalry that will cause this? Why can't we look into Bawku matter? Several years till date, why can't we resolve this Bawku matter? What is stopping government? Any government that will resolve this matter will be my government. I have been telling people, look, give me the nod and I will resolve the Bawku matter. But they said no. They gave to John Mahama, they gave to Mahama Yerga, and then look at what is happening.
Okay, now before I let you go, your brother's house that was touched, what exactly are you going to do about it?
I mean, what are we going to do about it? Plenty of people, we assume that we pray that there's peace. My brother is not worried about my brother and I, we're not even more worried. We're not worried about the house than the peace. We are more worried of peace maintaining in Bawku than the house being burned. If my house, his house will be burned down and there'll be peace in Bawku, so be it. They should go and burn them down and give us peace. I am ready.
What about the likes of your relatives?
I mean, they are burning the house. They are not burning the relatives. If burning the house will bring peace, so be it.
But that's a warning sign. That's a warning to you that if I'm able to burn your house, I can harm your relative.
It is not the Mampusis who burned my brother's house. Point of correction. It's the Kusasis who did that out of anger and an issue of they believing that he is not handling the Bawku matter as well. It was not the Mampusis who went to burn my brother's house. So that is not a zone where we are saying an enemy has come to burn your house. No.
Yeah.
This is an internal problem.
Yeah.
Are you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
yes.
Point of correction, there were no Mampusis who went to burn my brother's house.
Right.
Yeah.
Hassan, we'll leave it here. We're grateful for spending some time with us. Hassan Ayariga is a flag bearer of APC and also hails from Bawku, brother of Mahama Ayariga there, who is currently outside the country but is still focusing on the issue, has released a statement. I gave it to you earlier on, but let's go back onto the phone lines. I'm told that Adib Sani has joined us again to continue the conversation. Adib, thank you for your time. Can you hear me?
You loud and clear,
right.
And sorry about the mishap.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. Before you left, I was asking the question, if we are using the right avenues to settle the scores in Bawku. But listening to Hassan Ayaga, he makes me understand that, you see, that the residents of Bawku, the natives of Bawku, they're able to talk to themselves. But it's almost as though there are the suspected political players who have the gravitas to organize some radicals to go around causing mayhem.
You see, like I indicated earlier, there are some who would benefit from the status quo. In every conflict situation, there are elements who would be uncomfortable with peace or with any efforts aimed at bringing peace. Even in the case of Dagbo, there were some people who were very opposed to the initiative to bring peace to the area. So in Bawku, it is very similar because they benefit from the status quo. Some are driven by politics, some are driven by ethnicity, some are driven by money. Okay? That is why, as a conflict analyst, I've always indicated that everybody has a unique, distinct, important role to play in bringing peace to the area, including those people who benefit from the status quo. We cannot brush them off. We need to include them. We need to ask, okay, what are your challenges?
Do we know them?
Yes.
The beneficiaries of the conflict, do we know them?
Absolutely.
We know them?
Some are known. Some are known. Because the thing is, these weapons, do you ask yourself where they come from? Who are those giving them the funding? Because the thing is, Annie, there's so much poverty in that area. I mean, for a lot of people, access to 3 square meals is a big deal in a day, okay? But the kind of weapons that they used, beyond AK-47, the G3, AR-15, the M16, they are expensive, even on the black market. Where did they get all these weapons from?
That's exactly what Hassan Ayarga sought to say.
Good. So there are people who are providing them this. So we need to deal with that issue also as one of the multi-dimensions I've spoken about earlier. But you see, if you talk only about it's the chieftaincy thing, so let's deal with it from only the chieftaincy side, then you might be mistaken.
That's exactly the reason why I was asking you, that we seem to be using one-way solution, using the chiefs. Right now we say that is at the doorstep of the Otumfo Osetutu, handling the matter. The president will go and say a few words. Political parties are issuing statements. But how about looking into using professional conflict resolution, bodies or individuals?
Well, I mean, we have given the solutions. I have personally, I cannot count the number of times I've granted interviews and I've given that free consultancy. But the important aspect to this is the commitment. If you ask me, in the past there was no commitment to dealing with the issue. Today, I see elements of commitment on the part of particularly the president. So it is a step to dealing with this, situation altogether. And we have always given the solutions. We tell them, look, this goes beyond chieftaincy. This is about human insecurities. This is about people not having access to basic necessities of life. This is about people whose rights have been violated. This is about law enforcement. What do we do to improve it? This is about the proliferation of small arms. So in as much as we need to address it from the Otumfo angle, which I must say is very critical, we need to also address it from the other human insecurities, from the other issues. Then by so doing, in essence, what we are succeeding in doing is to address it as a multi-dimensional issue. Otherwise, we would keep, dilly-dallying. We would keep going round and round and round, and there wouldn't be any solution. Okay, so the president has shown us the way. He has shown commitment. He has tasked his security chiefs. Look, this is a matter of top priority for me. So I need you to do your bit. But they alone cannot do it. Even the media has a very important role to play. Conflict-sensitive reporting. To what extent do our journalists know that? As I speak with you, I'm playing my role. The various entities on the ground, the chiefs, the youth groups, the women. And some of these things, we always leave out the women. Meanwhile, women play a very important role in this. They cook for them. In some cases, the women hide the weapons for the men. There are women who are so powerful, when they tell their husbands, stop, they will stop. To what extent do we include them in the conflict management, strategies we've used in the past? So I think we are on a new page altogether. And I pray that with this commitment shown by the president, we are able to work and harnessed our efforts so we are able to at least deal with this issue once and for all.
Adeb Sani, we're grateful for your time this afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Adeb Sani is the Executive Director for JTK Center for Human Security and Peace Building, and also he is a foreign policy and security analyst as well. Thank you for speaking to us on this matter. All right, we'll put the brakes here on Bawku, but we're still following through with the majority leader's house that was burnt by the youth, and according to his brother, you heard Hassan Ayaga, who's saying that he deems it as an internal matter, so that can be settled easily. Let's hope that is done. But they think, both of them I spoke with, think that there should be more commitment. They know who are the sponsors. They should just, get them all involved. It's a multidimensional approach that we have to use, according to Adeb Sani. Let's see if that's possible. We'll take a breather. When we come back, we'll get into education.
Next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
me didn't tontum. Mr. Femi Kakalika, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Femi once now. Hey, that's a new. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Me didn't sasso spray. Mr. Femi sasso quell. Yeah, come to my sasso tell you now.
Sasso, come tum preko.
So what about what your papa Piana?
This is my secret. Give us P capsules. Emma, I want to go from now on to me to my ding one pen. Give us P capsules. Overdo as a mama. Or no, enemy lawyer.
And to lawyer, no, not show bottom. Are you bro? They not upon permission about Siamoa as a new day. No. You didn't know I can't wait. The friend give us coal capsules. Say yes, it's Yarra and the wall, so coal did do with nipper them when in our walk for sa a mamma and Tima Wunja will not give us coal capsules. We'll be free.
Lawyer,
give us coal capsules.
And I give us P capsules.
Hey, and they give us free.
And men what if you do what you do, Cronquan, give us core capsules. A pin for a batter, one more menu for one quadawin if you do me a.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Welcome back to Good Afternoon, Ghana. Let's now delve into issues of education, where there has been concerns about the increasing rate of indiscipline in our senior high schools today. So last week, on April 4, a female student of Adventist Senior High School in Kumasi sustained serious gunshot wounds after being shot in the head by a classmate. On January 28, 2025, students of Accra Technical Training Center in Kimbo Secondary School Technical School also clashed. And January 30, 2025, violent confrontation between Kumasi Technical Institute and Kumasi Anglican Senior High School during an inter-school competition also clashed. Then February 1, 2025, a student of Salaga Senior High School left with multiple injuries following a minor disagreement between two day students during the entertainment on 14 February 2025. Clash between 20 students of Islamic SHS and local youth near Baba Yara Sports Stadium also happened. We also went to February 23, 2025, where Sokode Senior High School Technical was also temporarily closed after violent clashes among students. Again, on February 27, 2025, two people, including a student of Christian Methodist Senior High School in Accra, sustained serious injuries following violent clashes between students and residents of Bawku in the Ga South municipality of the Greater Accra region. So on March 25, a brawl between students of Christian Methodist Senior High School, also in English, Amanfros Senior High School, resulted in the death of two students. Last year, on 3rd September 2024, a final year student of Oreli Senior High School in Accra was stabbed to death. October 2024, a two-day scuffle that broke out among students of the Amantilo Senior High School also technical in the Busa North constituency, that districts of the Upper East region. And the list goes on and on. We can go or backdate to some other dates that you probably might not even recall. Now, what can be done to curb what appears to be the escalation of indiscipline in our schools? And we have, persons that we're going to be speaking to on the situation. But the Education Minister has also, sent a word of caution to us, and GES is asking GES to take a certain action. Let's listen to Harry Idrisu.
We should strengthen the relationship between the schools and its management, and in particular parents, in order that you remain at the forefront of the moral, intellectual, and academic development of our wards. It is only a harmonious and cordial relationship that can deliver safety. When I heard about the shooting incident in Kumasi, my immediate response was, this is un-Ghanaian. This is not Ghanaian. But it has happened in Ghana. The Director General of GES have issued some directives and instructions. He has our full policy support and approval to enforce those directives. So in respect of the un-Ghanaian development of shooting in Kumasi, the Director General of the GES has the full support of government for you to strengthen your inspections in order that guns, knives, and other violent tools and equipment are not found in our schools. You have the full support of government to initiate those inspections at the weekend. We have to nip it in the bud as early as possible and as practically as possible, in order that we allow for a serene student environment. This cannot be part of the training of a Ghanaian child. That is immoral, that is violent, that is not Ghanaian culture. So we expect that you will look.
That's the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu. We've been joined via phone by Angel Kabone, who is the president of NAGRAT. Angel, thank you so much for your time. You're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana, and thanks for your time. So I'm sure you have been following the updates of what's happening in the secondary schools, having been in office for so many years. Angel, can you tell me if you think this is, and if you have some of the videos, on your screen, it's just some of the violence breakouts, yes, in secondary schools that we've recorded in recent times. Mr. Kabone, can you tell me if these violent breakouts that we're recording in our current secondary schools are new developments, or they are just normal that you've experienced over the years that probably we're now bringing them to fore?
Well, it is not new. There's always indiscipline and violence in schools. But what is happening now is there's an upsurge in its frequency, and the numbers have increased. And also the reaction of school authorities that existed in the past, which was a strong deterrent to student misbehavior, seems to have waned considerably. And students are taking advantage of that atmosphere and are misbehaving. To the extent that now the weapons possession and use, bringing dangerous weapons to school like a gun that destroyed an innocent student's vision, are all an attestation to the fact that the situation is on the rise. So something drastic must happen, and must happen now.
This is something that must happen. At what point should it happen? I know that the Minister for Education has, sent a caution, and he's also calling for the same, that something must happen now.
Yeah, but this is not, I was expecting a more definite statement from the Minister. This is not the time to be giving caution. I would have wanted a statement like, teachers and school management should engage in frequent search, and any student found to be possessing any dangerous weapon be dismissed from the school. I'm looking for a statement like that any student found in possession of any dangerous weapon should be dismissed from the school immediately, and that he has given the school authorities the power to be able to dismiss or mete out any punishment that warrants the crime that have been committed. So when that power is given to the school authorities, and the school authorities will not have to resort to anybody or look back at what decisions they are taking, you have a situation where the school authorities will now have the resolve and the verve, and then the students and their parents will know that a blanket authority is being given to school authorities. Therefore, they ought to be very, very careful not to fall foul of the law.
I'm not sure if what you're asking now, that students and teachers and leaders of schools must be given the power to dismiss students with unauthorized weapons and unauthorized things that they are not supposed to have in school. But this is something that those of us who went through secondary schools, we experienced it to the extent that you come to school, the first day you come to school, your items are searched, and sometimes they are periodic searched in the dormitories and areas that they should be, and items that students are keeping that are not authorized are seized eventually. In the current situation, or the recent situation of the gunshots, the students entered the school without the notification of the teachers or the leaders who were around at the time. It was a surprise shot or
Yes.
it was a surprise firing.
Yes.
So,
If
exercises like searches will not really yield any positive results if a student is bent on carrying out any dastardly act.
If the culture of the school were such that the teachers will search, and if a dangerous weapon like a gun is found, you will be dismissed. I can assure you that student will be thoughtful before doing that. If that was the culture, if the student had at the back of his head that if this gun is found, I will lose my education in that particular school, I can assure you, he will caution himself before arming himself or coming to school with a gun. Don't forget that when he brought a gun to the school, he engaged in frolicking with his other classmates, where they were trying to check the potency or otherwise of the gun. If all those students knew that when they are caught in that act, they may be asked to go home, they will all have cautioned themselves not to participate in that. Anyway, it happened. Then the person should go. I don't see where maybe someone is having a screwdriver in his box, should receive the same amount of punishment with someone. Even if someone is holding a knife, that person coming to school with a knife should not have the same punishment with someone who is coming to school with a gun. But then the resolve of school authorities must be thorough. Must be thorough without any vent left unchecked. Look, if you are managing a school of over 1,000 or 2,000 students, definitely, because we all come from different families and different backgrounds, definitely we will have people with characters and attitudes that are untoward. There are some of the schools who don't even have, some of the students who don't even have parental care or parental control. At that young age, they are fending for themselves.
Right.
So, you don't expect that all the students will conform equally or the same. So there will be sanctions to separate those who want to remain in the school and study and those who don't want to study.
There are quite a number of things that I'm thinking of that I think is contributing to what you became president in 2018. Am I correct?
Yes.
And in 2019, GES banned corporal punishment in schools.
Yes.
What did that, once you became president and a year after corporal punishments were banned in school, what did you think of that decision?
Well, the banning of corporal punishment and other decisions by Ghana Education Service have a more complicated background story than just a decision taken by authorities. Look, the problem we have is that we receive a lot of donor support from countries whose social system is broken. In fact, when a British educationist or American educationist come here to tell you how to run school discipline, I mean, why would you accept it? Because in those countries, their social system is dead. I mean, it's broken. Well, this will come out with some money to sponsor one or two programs, and typical of us, any money can change our decisions at the spur of the moment. So they come and then they try to introduce what they know in their country, in our country. So these are some of the reasons why some of these decisions are taken. It is not as if the Ghanaian educationists sat down, looked at the system, sat with their stakeholders and decided, no. These are some of the reasons why some of these decisions are taken. So I don't even think that the decisions were taken based on any careful thinking or scientific thinking. No, it is just to acquiesce to the conditions that donors bring to our country.
Exactly, because sometimes we receive aids and grants and we think that, oh, because it's a grant, it's free. Obviously, it's not free because it's costing us a lot as far as our...
Absolutely. That is why I am full of praises, and I've been praying for Donald Trump to sanction us further, to remove, to impose more tariffs, so that we will start thinking in our country.
Because if you look at the USA that we're told that it's now being removed. I mean, that aid was going a lot into education, and today,
yes,
if it's off,
they should remove it for us to start thinking, to start having home thinking. When you are hungry, when you don't have food to think, they say necessity is the mother of invention. They should remove it, because with all these aids coming, we are not thinking as a people. We are not thinking properly.
What do you think we can do now? I mean, we are clear. We are clear on where the problems are coming from. I'm looking at, corporal punishment removal. I'm looking at students that have been exposed to sexual immoralities, and sometimes they boldly, record videos and put it out on the internet without necessarily thinking of future consequences. We're looking at the violence and, of course, weapons of mass distraction that students have started taking to school. It means that our future is at risk. So as president of NAGRAT, what will you do? You're saying that the minister's request is not what we need now.
Yeah, it is not thorough enough. The minister's statement is not thorough enough. But what we will do, very soon you will hear the leadership of the teacher unions taking a certain action that will wake policymakers up from their slumber, and they have to take some decision so we ensure that there is peace and harmony in the school. That demand will be coming out very soon.
What demand?
I say a certain demand will be made very soon from the leadership of the teacher unions, so as to ensure harmony and sanity in our schools. That demand will be coming out very soon.
How soon? I want to believe that your body is a part of the leadership.
Very, 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 very soon.
Are the teachers worried?
Of course, teachers have lost their sight.
There's a video I saw of a school, I'm not sure what school it was, where a teacher, I think after administering, turns his back and the student slapped him from behind. And it's obviously a secondary school.
Yes. Teachers have lost their sight. Teachers have been maimed and hurt. One happened at Nungwa, JSS. Another happened at Three Top Senior High School. A teacher lost his sight at in Ashanti region. A teacher was slapped from behind at English Amanfro. These are very regular occurrences. So the teacher will not be happy working in such an environment.
Let me ask you this question before I let you go, Mr. President. The introduction of free SHS, if you look at the selection process, do you think it also has a bearing on some of these happenings in the schools?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You see, with the pre-senior high school policy came with the policy that every child who have written the BEC is eligible to go to secondary school. Mm-hmm. I disagree with that notion, however. So you realize that the cutoff point was removed. So now it's a wholesale promotion from basic school to secondary school. It's wholesale. And the second thing is that no matter the abysmal performance of a child, school authorities are unable to repeat that child or withdraw the child based on the fact that that child is not performing. Once you have the situation pertaining in the schools, you are going to get a situation where people who do not have the attitude or the makeup, the mind to go to school will all be present in the school, creating chaos and troubles. I know of a school where a student from Form 1 to Form 3, he had not attended class at all. And yet this student ought to be registered to write an exam. He does not even know where such a student was just going to cause trouble.
Mr. President, we'll leave it here. I think we'll engage you again because we're still having a conversation. As and when you are going to, lead a campaign, I'm not sure how it's going to be captured. Kindly, keep us in the loop. And Joe Kabonu there, he's president of Nagrata. Let's still stay on the phone lines and engage with educationist Peter Anti. Peter Anti, Peter Anti is actually the executive director for Institute for Education, Student Studies, and he's also will join us pretty shortly. But the video you saw of a young girl is the SDA incident of the gunshot. If they can play it as we, await Peter Anti to join us pretty shortly to also have an extensive conversation with him. Okay, just an excerpt of that video, and that is the young girl who, suffered from the shooting incident in the secondary school in Kumasi. As we go, Metro TV will bring in some very exclusives from the home of this victim who has suffered the shooting. It's Adventist Senior High School, Bantama in Kumasi. So just in case you don't know the updates of that, the child cannot see today. I'm sure he might need some operation and all, but as we go, we're going to engage the family. They've agreed to speak with us. I'm sure if you don't get it today, by next week we'll exhaust all that here at Metro TV. Let's take a breather. I'll be back shortly. Okay, you're welcome back. The producers were struggling to raise Peter Anti on the phone lines, but let me just bring you up to speed with especially the recent gunshots incident in the secondary school in Bantama, and Madame Efia Comforts with emotions also has recounted a tragic incident that may forever change her daughter's life. Her 16-year-old daughter, Susie Pinamang, a student of Bantama Seventh-day Adventist Senior High School, had been shot in the eye with a locally manufactured pistol belonging to her classmate Bernard Amoabing's father. And of course, the bullets from the gun are still lodged in her face, causing her excruciating pain, and is unable to eat or drink. and her condition worsened with each passing day. So in a heartfelt appeal, Madam Ifia Comfort has called on government and individuals to come to her aid. She pleaded for assistance to cover the cost of Susie's medical treatment, which required immediate attention outside Ghana. Family resources were also are also dwindling as they couldn't afford or they can't afford the treatment needed to save Susie's sight. Madam Ifia Comfort's eye filled with tears as she was actually speaking with our colleague Abdul Basit in Kumasi. And okay, those are some of the videos that you are seeing there. Okay, let me spend just some 5 minutes with Peter Anti. I'm told that he's joined us so that before we wrap up, we are able to get there. Oh, okay. That's Peter Anti doing some exchange with us. He's got off again. So Susie Peterman's brother, also Clement, who is taking care of her, has also spoken to us, but I'm promising you that next week, okay, I'm watching the screen, the video screen. Next week we'll be doing some more by engaging the family. Let's hear from them. But also you can follow the Metro TV page on Facebook, Metro TV. Those videos are there. You can have, a view at it, just in case you have help, or you can connect this family to any person who can help. I'm sure that we'll be grateful, we'll be glad as Metro TV, so that we find a future for this young girl who has unfortunately suffered from this injuries, from these gunshots, from a student who I have no idea what he's bringing a gun to school for. Remember that we're facing those challenges in other foreign schools, and these students, with the advent of internet, they are learning a lot, with or without you teaching them. So we have to be cautious and watch the students closely. They're learning so much from the outside world. Well, we'll draw the curtain here on Good Afternoon Ghana, and then, like I promised, we'll get into the details of this issue as we follow up to the last bits, as and when we're able to secure help for the little 16-year-old young lady who has suffered from this gunshot wounds. And we'll follow up also with NAGRAT, who is, coming together with the other teachers leadership bodies to send a petition maybe to government on what to do as far as corporal punishment in the schools are concerned. My name is Ania Fompo. Thanks for watching Good Afternoon Ghana.
Digital alone doesn't solve problems.
You were a waiter.
Yes.
You were waiting tables.
Yes.
Were you doing well? Were you polite? Or you were traumatizing the guest?
Oh, I was. The interesting part about being a waiter is the tips, basically.
Oh, yes. No, but the tips come if you are courteous.
Women inspiring women.
Who
I
are
tell
you inspiring now, Jackie?
I am inspiring a lot of the ladies in my company.